Right away, do not give me any credit for this video. This was an idea originally created by LixianTV, who was inspired to do it by a line in the midst of the one-year channel Unus Annus, which was made by Markiplier and Crank Gameplays, also known as simply Mark and Ethan. The idea behind Unus Annus is in the name itself. Unus Annus is Latin for 1 year, and that was the entire concept behind the channel. Mark and Ethan uploaded one video every single day to the channel for a whole year, and then once a year was up, the entire channel, every single video, and every piece of legitimate merch was deleted. The content covered pretty much anything, from drinking each other's piss to more regular non-piss drinking content, and was all done to convey the message that everything dies eventually, so instead of focusing on the ending, you should make the most of the time you have, which, of course, led to a lot of lines revolving around this topic, but one stood out. To LixianTV, an animator, game designer, and editor for Markiplier, who took to heart one line from the entire thing, which was, "You can do a lot in a year." This led him to creating a personal challenge for himself, where he set multiple ambitious goals for himself to try and complete in 1 year, which he called the Unus Annus 2021 Yearly Goals. And he did a video not only going over whether or not he accomplished those goals, but also setting new goals for himself for the year 2022. Hence, Unus Annus 2022 Yearly Goals. I never watched Unus Annus, and I've only fairly recently started watching Markiplier, and I've only started watching Lixian even more recently than that. It's like I basically just started watching him. So you're probably wondering, why do I care about this challenge in the slightest? Well, there's actually a few reasons. The first would be that, despite only having just started watching Mark, I've grown a really big appreciation for Mark, both as a creator and just as a person. Because first off, in terms of being a creator, I feel he is what every creator really should be. Where he is uplifting and, helpful to people, and truly cares about the community around him and the people who help support him, and also he himself acts to try and support others, despite how big he is. And, all while doing various charitable things along the way. And he also always remains wholesome and pure in a way not a lot of creators really are. And by wholesome, I don't necessarily mean like innocent as an angel. He certainly does make, dirty jokes and that sort of stuff. But what I mean by that is more so just, you can tell he's doing YouTube for the sake of doing YouTube, for the sake of his own happiness, not just for money or just for views or just for popularity. He's truly doing it because it's what appeals to him as a creative person. And especially recently, in one of his more recent videos, I don't know how recent it actually will be by the time this is released, with editing and all that, but in one of his more recent videos, he said a few things that really resonated with me in terms of how I would like to make my own content. And so here is the clip of what I'm talking about.
Man, I really see how far I've come in terms of like a creator, like someone who is able to turn their vision in their head into a reality, which is all we really do. As creators or artists or anything, like it all boils down to being able to see something in your head and only exists in your head and putting it out into the world. Like that is what being an artist, an animator, anyone that like is a creator of things and stuff and putting their imagination out in the world, that's what it's all about, is getting that image out of your head. And videos and movies and TV show are just one aspect of that, but it's one of the most, I think in any way, cohesive methods of getting an imagination out of your head. If you have something that only you can see in your mind and you can turn it into a reality, that's just a beautiful thing no matter what it is.
Those words, paired with this challenge, as well as my personal striving to just be better, as I feel we all should. We should always strive to be better. made me really want to take on this challenge. Because one of the other reasons I decided to do this is also because I want to put the point out there even further that you don't necessarily have to wait for, say, New Year's in order to start making changes in your life. You can start making changes and improving yourself as soon as you get the motivation to do them. And so that's kind of what this is. So, now that all the pretense is done and taken care of, what are my goals? Get this video to 10,000 likes and I'll release part 2 going over... No. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, Lixian only separates his goals into 2 categories. He separates them into active goals and passive goals. Active goals are things he can actively do and work on, like making a certain amount of videos or making a certain amount of games or doing all that sort of stuff. Whereas passive goals are things that he has very little to no control over and are more so of a nice if they do happen type of thing, but are also things that he could possibly influence by achieving his active goals. However, I can't just leave this challenge alone. I gotta put a little bit of something else in somewhere. And this is where I wanted to pull in a quote from another of my favorite YouTubers, Matthew Patrick of the Theorist channels. Because he had a quote from one of his previous live streams that really appeals to me, which is where he said that he thinks everyone should have weird life goals. I'll play the clip now just so you can see it.
The other, childhood goal that I had, because I always like to say, you need a weird life goal. It's good to have, regular life goals. It's my life goal to become a doctor, get a wife, and have 3 kids, or whatever it is. Those standard life goals. I want to do X with my life. I want to, do...
Like a job or
job, achievements, things like that.
Family, whatever.
But I always encouraged people, especially when I was growing up, I would ask them, because I had these weird getting to know you questions, I would ask them, what is your weird life goal? What is your weirdest life goal? Do you have a weird life goal? Steph is going to be looking it up on Twitter, but what is your weird life goal?
Weird life goal.
Not I want to be a doctor or anything like that.
Lame.
A strange kind of offbeat thing that you don't think a lot of other people prioritize.
And so, because of that, and because I truly believe that as well, because there's always, those weird things in life that we want to achieve, I'm also going to be adding a 3rd section specifically for silly goals or weird goals. Goals that I won't necessarily gain anything from if I want to achieve, but it's more so just for my own satisfaction and the release of the nice little serotonin molecules in my brain. So, with no further ado, it's time to finally stop the whole preamble and just get into the goals. Active goal numero uno. House. Yeah, I'm not explaining this one. Those who are... Well, actually, no. I already explained it in my What Happened video. Basically, house. I want my own place. Whether it's house, my own apartment, just getting back out onto my own 2 feet and into my own place. That is my active... Which, honestly, all just comes down to working hard enough to make the proper amount of money to do that, and then, the physical act of moving. So I feel like this is very achievable in the next few months. If not, definitely within a year. So there we go. Active goal number 2. Write a book. Okay, so I have always wanted to write a book. When I was younger, I used to write books constantly. And I really love to read. And all of that comes from, and so I want to combine everything together, all my knowledge, I guess you could say, and I want to actually fully commit and write a book. Now, this isn't by any means saying that I'm going to publish it within a year, because publishing is a whole other ordeal, but I at the very least want to have finished writing one book. I have a few different ideas of what I could do for it, and I've already sort of started. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to achieve this one, but you never know, I guess. But the goal is obviously to finish writing the book by the next time, by the time a year comes around, or at the very least, get really close to finishing writing a book. Active goal number 3, become champion of every main game Pokemon region. This one might be considered a silly goal, but I'm going to put it here in the active ones anyway, because it is something I can actively do. Which is becoming champion of every Pokemon region. So for those of you that don't know, in the Pokemon games, in every region, there are like 8 gym leaders, or there's some substitute for those gym leaders. And then at the end, you get to become champion of the region, which means that basically you're the best trainer of the NPCs in that game. And I'm already pretty close to this one. I've become champion of the Hoenn region, the Sinnoh region, the Unova region, the Kalos region, the Alola region, the Galar region. Yeah, all the regions we have so far that are mainline games. But I have yet to become champion of the Kanto region, because as far as I'm aware, I've never actually completed a Kanto game, because I was a bit too old to actually, or I was a bit too young, to actually like truly experience the originals for myself. And even when I have played the originals, I was too young to have the motivation to actually see it through to the end. And when I was playing Let's Go, then I just kind of got disinterested because of how different it was from mainline Pokemon. So I kind of chucked that out relatively quickly before I finished it. But and then no, I'm kidding. But the other region I need to become champion of yet is also the Johto region, because I've just straight out never played a game from the Johto region. And so obviously if I haven't played the games, I can't become champion in those games. So there you go. And finally, last but not least, obviously, I am not yet champion of the new Pokemon games, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that is releasing next year. Or not next year, this year. The end of this year. In November. And so my goal is to become champion of every single Pokemon region that is in the mainline games. Because obviously the side games don't have a focus on you becoming champion. So you literally can't become champion of those regions. Like the Hisui region or the regions from the Pokemon Coliseum games. There is no becoming champion in those games. So therefore, even if I were to try, I couldn't. Active goal number 4. Go to the Game Awards in person. And last but not least is I want to go to the Game Awards in person. So last year, I did actually watch the Game Awards from my computer, and it was awesome. I really loved the spectacle of it, and I loved all the games that were revealed, and all that sort of stuff. But I just want to be able to experience it and go to it in person. I believe it's in New York, and it's in December, so I definitely have the time to be able to like build up the funds to be able to do that trip. So I definitely plan on doing that. I guess we'll see if it actually happens. It should. I don't see any reason why it won't. World, if you're hearing me. But yeah, so I just really want to go there in person. And that is the last of my active goals. So now we're going to go on to the passive goals. Passive goal number 1, get to 100 subscribers. So generally on this channel, I keep sitting around the 56 to 58 mark in terms of my subscriber base. And that's because of a variety of reasons. Part of it is because I just stopped uploading there for a bit. Multiple times. That's okay. And so, but ultimately, I do want to make this my career. And in order to make this my career, I do need more subscribers. That's just a given. And so, obviously, it would be great if we got more within a year. But my goal by the next time this time, I guess, comes around, would be to have 100 subscribers. Because that's not necessarily like a huge amount, because I mean, we're already halfway there. But it's still an amount that I would love to achieve to kind of mark the fact that, like, we are indeed progressing. Or that this channel is indeed progressing. Passive goal number 2. Get to 60 followers on Twitter. For those of you who don't know, I have a Twitter. It's at Austin. It's at Austin D YT. I can't remember. There might be an underscore in there. I'll have it on screen. Either way, I'll have the correct one on screen. So, and I've been trying to get followers, to build up my Twitter and be more active on Twitter. Because Twitter is a great tool for creators, but also, I just generally want to be more active online. And that's a great way to do it. And so, I would really like and appreciate if I could get my Twitter to 60 followers. While I would do another, just say, 100 followers, same with subscribers. The truth is, my Twitter has not done nearly as well as my YouTube. Whereas my YouTube sits around the 50 mark, mid-50s. My Twitter has always kind of remained around like 10, maybe 15. And so I would just like it if that could also get to 60. I'll try to promote it more in videos and such, but again, for the most part, I can't control whether people decide to follow me on Twitter. So there you go. Passive goal number 3. Sell 100 shirts. And the last of my passive goals is to sell 100 shirts. For those of you that don't know, I do have merch. It is the second link in the description, and it's even outright labeled merch store. And it's on bonfire.com, and I have had shirts there for a while now. And which, I mean, it's no big deal that no one buys them. I didn't expect anyone to, but they're there to be purchased. And more so, just to prove it to myself, I would highly appreciate it if we could sell 100 shirts. Just overall shirts or merchandise in general. Just because I do put a lot of work into designing these shirts. I do the art myself. I spend time thinking about the designs. And while yes, I do bounce it off of other people, ultimately, the core designs and everything are drawn and done by me. And even the edits are done by me, if they are edited further. And so, it would just be nice, just because, I put work into them to see them sell. Because I think we can all understand that, where if you put work into something to sell, you probably want it to sell. So I would just highly appreciate if we could sell 100 shirts, just any of the shirts. And that's pretty much it. I'm also going to be bringing out more shirts as time goes on, because I'm always trying to think of new designs for merch. So, there you go. But yeah, so just selling 100 shirts would be this final passive goal, which is probably the most unrealistic out of these goals, if I have to be honest. Because unlike subscribing or following, shirts is an actual monetary thing where people will be giving up their money for it. So I'll in no way be discouraged if we don't hit this goal. But it would just be something nice, sell 100 shirts to show that people are interested in the designs. If they are interested. Again, you don't have to. Don't feel like you have to just because of my stupid benefit. Only buy the shirts if you actually like the shirts. Silly goal number 1. Go to a convention. ever since 2021, 2020, in that range, I've really wanted to go to conventions. I've seen them all over the place online, and they look like they could be really fun and a really good experience. Despite all the people. But, obviously, in 2020, 2021, we had a thing that kind of shut down everything, including conventions. And this year, I unfortunately lacked the funds because of everything that happened in my What Happened video. Or that I explained happened in my What Happened video. And so, while I won't be going to any this year, I do intend to go to them. Specifically, I would like to go to VidCon, if that's going to be happening again next year. And this is around this time, so that's would be one of the last goals to complete. But also Anime Expo would be another convention I would love to go to. And just any sort of gaming convention, because I know there's a few of them. But those would be my goals. But ultimately, even if I can just go to one convention, I'll be happy. Because I really do want to start going to things like that. Both for your guys' benefit, so I can get out and maybe meet some of you someday. For those of you that I haven't already met, because I know there's a lot of people subscribed to my channel that I've already met and have asked in real life. But also, just for the sake of getting new experiences. Going out and just generally meeting new people, or having some fun stories to tell, maybe. Silly goal number 2, Scythe. Silly goal number 2 is Scythe, as I just said in the voiceover. So, I don't feel like elaborating much on this one either, kind of like the home one, because this is relating to a video I've been meaning to do for years now. Various things have happened during the production. I want it to be shot in a certain way, and that just requires certain things to happen in the real world. And so, but I'm just gonna bookmark this here, Scythe video. So that is one of my goals, to actually make that video, so I can finally be satisfied that I have made it. I'll give you a hint, though. This is a Scythe I'm referring to. When I say Scythe, this is a Scythe I'm referring to. So there you go. Start the speculation now. Silly goal number 3. Visit Japan. What, you want more explanation? Do I really need to explain why the manga and anime-loving gamer boy with a big gut wants to go to Japan? Silly goal number 4. Watch more anime. And the final of my silly goals is watching more anime. So, I love anime. And that is one of the first things I tell people when I meet them and they ask what my interests are. I say gaming and anime. But, that's also a bit of a lie. And it's a lie I felt guilty about for years now. So, I did, at one point, watch a lot of anime and enjoy a lot of anime. In fact, I still do enjoy anime. But I haven't truly sat down and watched multiple anime since middle school. After middle school, I kind of switched over to getting a majority of my content from YouTube and just watching various YouTubers. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been the rare occurrences where I'll go to watch anime, but a majority of the time I spend watching or taking in content hasn't been anime, and I really want to change that, because number one, I kind of miss watching anime, and number two, there are a lot of good shows I see on Twitter or hear of trailers and such that I'm really excited and really want to watch, and ultimately, I do just want to watch more anime. However, I also know that if I don't have a form of motivation to try and, like, somewhat force me, to do it, that I will just not do it, and nothing's ever going to change. So, to fix that, I am going to be putting up... So, to fix that, I'm going to be starting a brand new series on this channel called the Monthly Anime Checkup, where it's basically exactly like it sounds. At the end of every month, I'm going to be going over the anime that I watched in that month. And this is starting literally right away. So at the time I'm recording this, it's toward the end of June. And so by the time this comes out, it'll either be almost July or July. So at the end of July will be the first monthly anime checkup, where I will be going over all the anime I started watching in July. So there you go. Look forward to that toward the end of this month, or maybe start next month. But, you know, close to the end of July. And that's it. These are my goals that I want to complete for the rest of 2022, and also going forward into 2023. Until we eventually get to this point again where it's like end of June, beginning of July. Because that's the thing, it's a year. It's a year from the time this video comes out is when I have to have these goals completed by. That should make sense. And so, wish me luck in trying to attain these goals. I will definitely do what I can to stick to them. And ultimately, all you at home, just remember to stay awesome, and goodbye. See you next upload.